You want to put your Instagram in there in the description after, or your website. I'll
Yeah,
put some type of promotional, like set up a call with
yeah,
Apollo.
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I'd like to promote is my free presentation Thursday nights, but just let me know where I'll do that. And
All right. Hold that thought.
yeah, I see we're live on
All
YouTube.
right. We're live on YouTube. All right, welcome everyone. IMCtk here. I got a real special guest, IMC Apollo.
What's up,
Before I
guys?
drive myself crazy here, I'm gonna make myself host on my phone because I learned the hard way last time. I lost internet connection outside the library. I'm at the library right now. Old
Mhm.
school because I don't have Wi-Fi where I live. Never really needed it, and I'm gonna hit record before I forget on
Okay.
Zoom.
I like the light on your face.
Thank you. Allow recording. All right. Because last time I
Okay,
forgot.
rolling.
Um, all right. Now that we're recording and we're live on IMC TV, I'm gonna take my headset off so I don't hear an echo. Welcome. This is TK here with a real special guest, IMC Apollo. I got the pleasure of meeting him. It's crazy. I met him at an advanced beast camp over a year ago. What was that, like November, October, November?
October. October of
Uh,
2021. Yeah.
Holy cow, 2 years ago? Oh my God.
We're just
Um,
starting 2023, but yeah, year
yeah.
and a half
Okay.
almost. Time
Over a
flies.
year ago. When you meet someone like an IMC Nation, like the last 3 years for me feels like a decade. Like it feels so long. My 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 30s have been going flying by. I'm gonna be 40 this summer actually, and I feel like I'm on the right track now that I'm in IMC Nation. What Apollo, Justin, Everett, Dale, um, I after just meeting him for a weekend, I feel like I've known him for a lifetime. Like I was able to open up to him and connect
Yeah.
with him, and we attended 2 VIP parties that weekend, and I learned so much, and I got to apply what I learned. Um, and just him being there, just the conversations we had, like just the presence and the space he held, and the conversations, like when you're with your IMC Nation brothers, you share things that you normally wouldn't share with anyone, like friends, family, psychiatrists, anyone. And just the conversations I had out there, and one of them was with Apollo. Is that how you prefer to go by?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for saying that. And I feel the same way, like a connection with you right from the very beginning. And I see myself in you a lot. Like I want to get more into this later. Like basically, I love the blend of spirituality with like you know how to use a gun, you're strong, you're a soldier. And I love that what's the word, like that dichotomy. And that's what I try to cultivate too, because sometimes the spiritual crowd, they're very kind of soft, and then the independent, for lack of a better term, kind of right wing kind of crowd, they're a little bit clunky, so I love the blend. I relate to you in that. And I want to talk about the name thing because this is my story. I grew up and went through a lot of stuff growing up, but I would say in terms of the range of experiences that people have, somewhere in the middle, like some people have had it easier than me, some people have had it harder than me. And I never really felt sorry for myself. Maybe I had moments, but went through a lot of things. And then when I was like 24, 25, I moved from where I was living to a different part of the country. And that was an opportunity to reinvent myself. And I had a roommate named Justin. I grew up, so my full name is Justin Everett Dale. I grew up known as Justin. As a child, I was called Justin. As I was moving to this new place, it was huge new beginning for me. I find a place to live. I was in university at the time with a roommate named Justin. My mom goes by her middle name, and she says, "Hey, why don't you go by Everett?" And I said, "You know what? I like that. It's a new vibration." And also because I think that our name is like attached to our identity, which is all of our experiences. And also in Canada, it's a very, and in the States too, it's a common name, Justin. And so I showed up in this new place, and I just started telling everybody my name was Everett. And Everett's kind of a cool name. And I grew up idolizing some musicians like Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and Trent is actually his middle name. I think his first name's like Michael or something like that. And I thought, you know, it's kind of, and there's some other inspirations, people that were going by like their name that wasn't really their name. I knew some people in my life that were like super cool, and they were doing that. I worked as a tree planter one summer with this guy named, I think his name was Skip or something. I don't know, but that wasn't his real name. So I was like, fuck, you know, I'm just going to tell everybody I'm Everett. And that was kind of took a little getting used to. And my family kind of adjusted to that, and they all call me that. And then I moved to Latin America. I can't believe I've been down here 6 years already. Like, that's fucking crazy, because I still feel like, I don't know, I feel like it just happened. But and then like where I was in Mexico, people could deal with the name Everett because there was a lot of expats and stuff. But then I started going deeper into Latin America, and I was in Guatemala, and I was hanging out with this guy, and he was like, "That's such a hard name, Everett." And I was like, "Well, you know, actually, technically, my first name is Justin." He looks at me and goes, "You're Justin." And so then I just started telling people my name's Justin. And then I've been living in Colombia for the last year, and I spent about 3-4 months of last year here as well. People, they have a hard time with the name Justin, let alone Everett. Like, and I kind of thought of it like, in Canada, we have a lot of people from China, and sometimes they love like classic names like Charles, Victor, Henry, but sometimes they're like, I'm Boishuang Zhang or something. And I just think I am never going to be able to remember that name. But if somebody's like, yo, I'm Victor, I'm like, okay, cool, Victor. And so I just wanted a name that was people could actually deal with, because they still have a hard time with Justin here in Colombia. But then I also felt like that was almost taking off this mask that I was wearing and becoming my authentic self. But I'm known in the IMC tribe as Everett, and that is my name. And I talked about that with a psychic. I'm very lucky because I have this very incredible clairvoyant in my life that I speak to from time to time. We have a close personal relationship as well. And she told me that Everett is more of like a warrior name. It's like I forget how she put it. It's got like a harder edge to it. Like the numerology of the name, it's like more of like my warrior name, whereas Justin is more like chill or something. So that's the situation. And then Apollo, that came from a conversation with my mentor, Vince Kelvin, who is, the spiritual brother of Arash Dibazar. And that I use as my DJ name, but sometimes people call me that, which I like it. I think it's kind of cool. So that's the crazy schizophrenic story with that. And then now launching my new business and really putting myself out to a larger audience, I'm going by Justin. So it is what it is. It's kind of weird, a little eccentric, but that's the 100% story about what happened with that. So I can't hear you. I don't know.
That's cool. That
Yeah.
answered my question. I put myself on mute.
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
put
I got
myself on
it.
mute when someone's talking, just in case there's background noise or I sneeze or cough, like I did. Well, since you mentioned DJing, I remember briefly talking about that with you when we met in San Jose at the Live Beast Camp. And then shortly after that, I see you DJing some club in Mexico. I'm like, holy shit, he's really doing it. What got you into that, and like, how did it feel being on the other side of the decks?
Yeah, it was an idea I had for a long time. Originally, I wanted to be a VJ, which is like basically DJing, but videos, because like I think I'm more of a visual person than like I used to dabble in music, but I was never that great at it. Whereas like I got pretty good at graphic design. Like I worked professionally as a graphic designer for a number of years. And I think I have a higher aptitude for visual arts and like but then I was at a party in Guatemala, and the DJ's on this, like he's up on this platform and there's all these spotlights on him and there's this like epic background and everybody's looking at him, and there's like these cool live visuals around him, and then I realized, oh, those are actually like being controlled by like a person, and there's like this little booth in the background behind the crowd, and that's like the VJ. So I was like, oh, the DJ, that's the sexy job. Nobody cares about the VJ. And so I had the idea to start DJing, and I love dabbling in creative stuff, digital creative stuff, like, and but I thought, it'd be an opportunity to like kind of be popular and be social and participate in social events and have status, and because DJ's sexy, right? And get girls, stuff like that. And so I thought about it for about a year, and then I moved to Colombia in March of last year, and then I actually went and bought the equipment, and it was just kind of sitting in my house. And I typically, when I take on a new hobby, I'm able to self-educate myself. Well, depending on what it like with this kind of stuff, digital creative stuff, because like I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in New Media, and I've learned so many kinds of software. And I used to do music production in Ableton, so I thought I could kind of jump in and get the hang of it, but I just really was not understanding it at all. And so the equipment was just kind of sitting there. And I even thought, like, man, why did I buy that equipment? It was expensive. I'm not doing anything with it. And then one day I'm walking down the street here in downtown, and there's all these people that always try to get you to come into the restaurants and eat there. And I always thought, like, that's never going to work. Like, if I want to eat, I want to eat. If I don't want to eat, I don't. But this one time, like, this guy, he's like, hey, come in here and eat. And I was like, okay, like, it actually worked. And so we start chatting. And actually, this was the day after I quit smoking weed, which I thought was significant. And I'm smoking very little weed these days, which is incredible. And I'm a completely different person. And my God, thank God that, but so I start chatting with this guy, and he's from Venezuela. He speaks English, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but we discovered that he says he's a professional DJ. And I say, oh, that's so funny, because I just bought the equipment and I have no idea how to use it. And then we agree to meet up. He comes over to my house. I didn't know if he was bullshitting or whatever. Turns out, no, he really knows what he's doing. Like, he's good. And not only that, but he's really good at teaching. So he taught me like the basics. And then I think we met on like maybe a Tuesday afternoon or something like that. And then the following Friday, he's like, okay, we've got a gig. We're going to DJ at the restaurant that I work at. And so not only that, but we DJ'd outside, and it's like the main strip of downtown. So like everybody walking by saw me DJing, and like I still had no idea what I was doing, basically.
How did
And
that feel? Sorry to cut you off on it. How did that feel?
it was a mix. It was a mix because it's what I wanted, but I felt very self-conscious, and I didn't think I was really doing a good job of it. But at the same time, I kind of knew people couldn't really tell. And also, it's like there's a thing when you're DJing, like it's a performance, right? And it's kind of you want to kind of like move when you're doing it. And I'm still getting the hang of that. Like, that's a whole other thing. How you
Getting into the music. Dude, I real quick, when I started, like in my 20s, I was stiff. Like I was in it, like I loved it, but I was in it for all the wrong reasons. Like, I drank a lot, unfortunately. And thank God I wasn't into hard drugs at the time when I was doing it. But I drank so much, and the attention from girls and stuff. But I made some shitty friends, like so-called friends, but I was stiff. And then I quit for a while. I got back into it, and then I was kind of like dancing. I'm kind of like, I want to feel good. And then seeing people, like seeing in their eyes, like the passion they put into it. and just like the people walking by, I'd say like 90% of people don't know, like they think you know what you're doing. Like anyone can DJ now. And only that very small percentage like knows how you're playing, what you're playing on, and even if you can beat match, you know. So if I'm trying to like picture myself being you right now, like kind of nervous, optimistic, um, and like adrenaline running through you and getting a natural high off of it. Like how did you feel afterwards?
Yeah, so there was this couple, this young married couple from Bogota, because I'm in Santa Marta, Colombia, which is on the coast, and then Bogota is the capital city, and they were there for their anniversary, and they like really gravitated to us because they love electronic or whatever you call it. We were playing tech house music, and that's their thing, and so they were into it.
That's
And
my
me and my
favorite.
buddy, okay, cool. And me and my buddy were taking turns, and so when he's doing it, it's like super cool. And me, I guess my transition sucked, but I'm playing a good song, so it was cool. But then my buddy Caesar is his name. He's like, okay, fuck this place, we're out of here. The owner wasn't happy. She thought there were less customers because we were playing, because they want to play always Latin music, salsa, reggaeton. And so he's like, we're going across the street. And I was having fun, and I was like, well, this is what I signed up for. And so then we went across the street and went to this other bar restaurant that it wasn't on the street. It was like tucked inside. And we ended up playing till 5 in the morning or something. And I'm not really a night person. Like, for somebody who wants to DJ, I'm not really a night person. And it was like the couple came with us, and um I forget if this was this night. No, that was another night. I don't know. There's a few people around, and the owner of the restaurant and like the waiters were into it, and it was super fun. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get to sleep. But it was my equipment, my laptop, my controller. And so I was like, I can't really leave until the party's over. But it was awesome. And then that led to us DJing every single Saturday night at this other place for 2 months. And it was this total shithole, but it was kind of similar. It was like open, like everybody walking by could see us. And it's a small town, not a small town, it's a city, but it's like everybody knows each other. And I stand out being a gringo. And so to this day, everybody's like, oh yeah, you're the DJ. I remember when you're DJing. That's kind of part of my identity. But that little shithole bar was like, everybody's on coke. The owners are this crazy couple. The guy's Italian, the girl's Colombian. They're always fighting, and all these drug dealers are coming in all the time. And it was a trip. And I told them I'm not playing after 3 in the morning. Like, I just shut it down. Like, and that's still pretty late to me. But that went on for about 2 months, and then I was so tired all the time. Like, I stopped going to the gym. And then thank God it all just kind of ended, because one day my buddy just vanished. He went to Venezuela, and like the same week the owners of the bar shut down the bar. So I was like, oh, thank God, because I didn't think I could keep doing that. And so I've just been playing at home ever since. And I quit for a few months, and then I got back into it. And now I'm like really wanting to get out there and playing again. And tomorrow I actually have two parties to play at. It's so weird how life works. There's a barbecue on a rooftop with a pool at my friend's place. And then I've been invited to this other party, and I'm supposed to play from 1 till 3. But I got to find out more information about that. But it's crazy because I've been wanting to get out there, but like not play so late, like sunsets and stuff would be cool.
No, one thing AZD said is nothing good happens after midnight. And that's one thing I remember from attending the beast camps and the VIP parties and going to the gentlemen's club. Like right at midnight, we were out of there. Actually, the last one I went to, I think by 11:15 or something, like 11:15 on the dot. Like we were rounding everyone up and got out of there.
Oh yeah.
I've
I
been in
think
parties. I mean, clubs. Like I remember, I thought I was so cool. I went to Cancun, Mexico when I was 20. You know, so I was drinking legally and just stadium sized clubs and going till like the next morning, and Chicago, and then going to after parties. And now that I've been making things happen out here, I've been getting pretty close with some like club owners, DJs, promoters, and some of them take breaks. Like some of them even move out of state. And it's just fake friends, I guess, like the drugs, alcohol, like unhealthy lifestyle. Like it can be so easy to get caught up in that. And now I see why people like they quit. And I'm actually kind of glad that I'm getting into it more serious now that I'm older. Now that my partying days are older over. If
Not
I
over. Don't say
if
that.
I
Don't.
drink now, I'm shot for a week. Like, and it shows too.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not worth it anymore. And that's one thing I love about AZD and IMC Nation is like everyone's pretty much straight edge. You know, they may smoke every now and then, but that's okay to a certain extent, you know, using it as a tool. Like I used to have to drink before just to get some liquid courage before I went up there because I get so bad stage fright.
I
And
can
then I end
totally.
up drinking too much and then just fucking the night up. But man, I
Yeah.
could talk all night about DJing. If you don't mind me changing the subject, then we can have a
No.
part two and a part three. And anyone watching this that wants to collab with Everett, Apollo
Yeah.
Everett Dale, I like the story. Like I like you sharing
Yeah.
how you got those names. So much meaning and significance. How
Yeah.
did you get introduced to AZD and IMC Nation?
I think that I discovered him on YouTube like a really long time ago, and I was, a younger guy seeking knowledge and looking, this whole love, sex, and romance, connecting with girls, connecting with women, having romantic relationships thing is, for whatever reason, in modern society, or maybe it's always, in fact, maybe it's easier now than it's ever been. It can be very, very challenging for a lot of people. In fact, it may have been more challenging in the past, because I've heard statistics like throughout history, the vast majority of males never reproduced. And now it's like much more, what's it, like equitable or whatever. Like now most men do have offspring, but in the past, like almost all females would have offspring and only a few males. So it was ultra competitive. And that's why we're like, we have to do something, we have to take risks and try to do something extraordinary. Or at least that's kind of how it feels, because it never came naturally to me. And maybe the opportunities I had, I would push them away, or I was frozen in my, like, I wasn't free to express
No wonder
to
why I
act.
feel so connected with you. Everything that you're saying is me. Sorry, brother.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah. And so I,
Sorry. Correction. It was me. All right. Go
yeah,
on.
hell yeah. And so I like to think that I have like a PhD in YouTube. I mean, I watched way too much YouTube for many years, and I don't do that anymore because I'm in a better and better place, as we're getting older, right? And there's pros and cons to the aging process, and sometimes look in the mirror and I go, what the fuck happened? But at the same time, I'm emotionally, mentally in a better place than I've ever been. And so I don't smoke weed like I used to. I don't fucking binge on fucking YouTube all the time anymore. But and there used to be a lot of good content on YouTube. It all got taken down mostly. But so I was looking at all these different characters, these supposed experts on, how to become more attractive to women, and what to say to them and stuff like that. And a lot of those people are just ridiculous, especially now. Like, but Arash he's an incredible teacher, an incredible human being, and a very special speaker. And it resonated with me, and I started watching his videos. And then actually I found Vince Kelvin through Arash. I was following Arash first. And then I remember one day he does a video with this guy, pink mohawk, weird accent, rock star sunglasses. And I went, what the fuck is that? And then I started listening to him speak, and I'm like, wow, he's a really incredible speaker too. And I don't know why, but when it came time for me to really take action and really learn this stuff for real, because I had been immersing myself in information products, and it wasn't doing anything for me. You know, I remember listening to interviews with people, and these guys would talk about how they go to bars and they say magic words, and it was doing nothing for me. And then I was at a point, it was like 6 7 years ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going to really take action on this. And I reached out to Vince Calvin, and I went and did a private boot camp with Vince, and I went to Hollywood, and I spent 2 days walking around Hollywood and him doing his NLP and getting into my mind and changing my thought processes and doing meditations with him. And then I continued to have a ongoing relationship with him, and we had a fight in the beginning of the pandemic, and a falling out, because I was working with him and we were talking every single day. And also I was attending all of his events. And so I was getting to know, or I already knew, or I was familiar with Arash's work, but I was listening to all of Arash's lectures, because back then the two of them were always doing events, like once a month they would do like a weekend event together. So I was getting exposed to Arash's teachings a lot as well. And but that was my involvement. I wasn't part of the IMC Nation stuff, Arash's, like, his stuff. But then I went through some like really crazy shit almost a couple of years ago. Like real, I don't even want to get into it, but like stuff related to my my love, sex, and romance life. Really fucking crazy stuff. And I thought, man, I wanna, I just felt like, okay, I'm gonna go and learn from Arash, because he's a prophet, or I don't know what word to describe him, but and when you start to learn about Hermeticism and stuff like this and these great teachers from ancient times, there's different, like the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, for example. There's different areas. He taught astrology, alchemy, and a theurgy, I think it's called, which is like study of the stars. But what is almost never talked about is there's another field of knowledge, which is basically like pickup arts or seduction. I forget what words, like relationships between men and women. It's like actually a part of the ancient wisdom. And I feel like Arash is kind of like the current vehicle for that knowledge to be shared in this world. And so I thought, now is the time for me to really get into studying with this man. And so I was doing really well professionally at that time. I'm not anymore at this moment, but things are going to change with my new business, God willing. And so I went all in. I signed up for his ongoing coaching program, but then I went to San Jose. I thought that's the best way, of course, is to learn in person. That's when you and I met. Unfortunately, that's still the one time I've been in San Jose, and I've been working to get myself in a position where I can start going there in person, because that's my intention, is to become involved on that level again. And so it's a whole different thing. Like, there was listening to Arash's lectures as part of Vince's events, but now the IMC thing, it's the teachings of Arash, but it's also the brotherhood of all the guys, and that's a whole experience in its own right. That I've barely scratched the surface compared to some of these guys that are really living it every day. Like I see on Instagram, the crew, they're all hanging out, playing pool together and stuff, living together. That's a whole nother level of, like, living the AZD process, or the IMC Nation way of life, so that's kind of where I'm at and how I got started studying Arash.
That's awesome. Great story, brother. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I know a lot of guys, they first were introduced with, I think Captain Chris was introduced with Vince Calvin, and then he went to like one of his live events, and then ACD spoke there, and he was like, "Holy shit, how do I connect with this guy?" Um, and I remember, I think when I first joined, ACD was doing quite a bit of events with Vince Calvin, and I didn't like Vince Calvin at first, just because he was so out there, and you know what? It's about me, like the small cowtown boy living in like a small town of Wisconsin. I didn't think I saw him speak. I would just see pictures of him. I'm like, nope, I don't like him. And then I heard him speak on the same stage online, obviously, as AZD, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Like, he used to work with Anthony Robbins. Like, of course, like, okay, I want to work, I want to meet this guy. And I invest in a couple of his smaller programs, like one of those weekend events that like him, AZD, a bunch of speakers, and that big tattoo dude. I can't think of his name right now. Anyways, and I got pretty lucky
Maybe
because the one
Hypnotica. Sorry, I
Hypnotica,
maybe I don't know. Bad timing because I was muted.
Hypnotica, Hypnotica is who I was thinking of. What did you say?
Sorry, I'm getting the hang of this muting, unmuting. What's that?
Yeah, you know what? If there's no background noise,
It's all
just leave
just leave
yourself
that.
unmuted.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
doing it because I have a cold. I've been sneezing, and the van's running.
Okay.
Where was I now? So
Yeah.
I
So
got pretty,
you.
we got pretty lucky that we met each other. If that was the only time you went to San Jose, and
Yeah.
travel and expenses, like everyone that's watching this right now that's on the fence, and AZD was saying this, like one of the breaking points for me, because I was a freeloader. I'm gonna take my headset off. I was a freeloader. I was watching his Sunday services live. I would look so forward to him live streaming on his Instagram. And I was a freeloader, and I was living in sunny Florida. I hit a crossroads in my life where I had to move back up to Wisconsin right before the winter hit, 2018. I'll never forget. I think finally signed up October 2019. But he's like, "You're spending your money on dumber stuff." And like one of his followers are like, "Oh, Anthony, thank you so much." He's like,
Uh-oh, we're frozen.
and I finally realized, because just like you know, it's like I'm not getting any younger. Drink like I used to. I don't want to do that. And all right, why not do this? And it's been such a journey, man.
Yeah.
Now with that, like, where do you see yourself? Because I just attended your live webinar last night, and I'm like, oh my god, like I wish I had this a few years ago when I was helping my friend launch his Kickstart Cash business, but
Yeah.
it's still there, you know. So
Yeah.
like, what has given you confidence to do something like this, and where do you see yourself going with that? If you want to
Yeah.
give like our listeners a little lowdown on what you do and what you plan on doing with that.
Totally, totally. That of course I'd love to get into that, but first I want to tell you about something. Like I've never really talked about this, but this is the perfect time. It's so when I went to San Jose, and it was expensive, right? Like the whole thing, traveling from Mexico and getting a hotel. San Jose is like the most expensive fucking city in all of the United States. And so I was kind of like, man, I hope I get my money's worth, right? And Captain Chris made a comment to me. He's like, yo, or to the group, he's like, I think that you activated the tribe gene when I was there. And I was like, that's really cool.
The
Um,
tribe what?
the tribe gene, or the tribal gene, which I don't take it literally. I mean, it's an evocative statement that I don't think like I don't know about genetics, but it's like something clicked in me, right? And so I've always had this funny relationship with being social, because when I was a small child, I was very popular, and I was like the most popular kid and the leader, and I guess you could say the alpha kid of the class, I guess, right? That's what it was. And then I changed schools and stuff, and then I didn't fit in, and I was bullied a little bit here and there. I was never really bullied so much, like, but some bullying, but more just not really fitting in, and then like becoming more and more of a loner as I became a teenager. And then in my 20s, I completely lost my social skills entirely. I was such a loner. And then I started kind of becoming more social in my 30s again, and but still kind of struggling to make friends and stuff like that. And so I thought that was a great
Dude, this
statement.
is so, everything you're saying is so familiar, so relatable. I just had to
Yeah.
say that, man.
Oh
Keep
yeah, man.
going.
Yeah, and so lonely, man. God. Like I remember going to a music festival by myself and doing MDMA, and then going back to my tent, and the music's going in the background. I fucking was pretty much crying. I felt so
Dude,
alone, you know?
I I would yeah, same. I remember going to events, like, they say the third wheel, where like you're with a friend and he brings his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
yeah.
Sometimes I'd be the fifth or
Oh
seventh
yeah.
wheel.
Oh,
Like, I
big
joke about it, but
lot.
I was like, I kind of like being free, because when I would drink, I was social and I'd meet girls and stuff. But then sometimes I would just sit in the back, and I see my friends kind of like cuddling with a girl, and then I see other couples like holding hands, and it would piss me off.
Oh
I would
man, it
like
hurts.
literally get pissed, like, fuck you,
It
drink
hurts.
more, cry myself to
Yeah.
sleep. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
go on.
totally. Totally. And so um that event was actually the reason why I remember it so clearly, it was like October, was it was because it was like 2 weeks before my 40th birthday. And I had a lot of anxiety about that birthday because at that time I'd made a lot of progress in terms of making friends, dating girls, stuff like that. But I was single, and some of the friends I had in town were out of town, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do for my birthday? I don't know. I even had crazy ideas of like flying here to Colombia. So I was living in Mexico. I had ideas of flying to Cartagena, Colombia, which is a crazy place, and getting a yacht and getting a bunch of fucking prostitutes, and that being my birth. Like that's where my mind was at. And
Dude,
I
that's that sounds very familiar. The
yeah,
thoughts, thinking about it, of course.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so I decided, you know what, I'm gonna host a birthday party at my house. And I just invited everybody I knew. And some of these people I'd met in passing, and I had their WhatsApp, and like, and maybe I knew them from CrossFit, but we never really hung out. Or I just invited everybody I knew, and I had no idea what was going to happen. And people are asking me, like, so how many people are going to be there? And I said, I have no idea. Maybe nobody's going to show up. I had no idea. Um, Basically, almost everybody I invited showed up. One of my kind of acquaintance, buddy, friend type people, he's a chef, and he like made all this epic snack food, and like it was just so perfect. Like it was amazing. Like people brought
Did
more
you post this
people.
on Instagram?
What's that?
Did you make a post about this on Instagram or Telegram? Or I remember this. This is not
Okay.
too long ago, right?
Well, this was a little almost a year and a half
A
ago.
year ago, yeah.
Yeah. I
I
didn't
think I
post any.
remember you doing an Instagram post and then you talking about it or sharing it in a Telegram.
I'm not sure. Okay. But if you remember it, yeah, I
Okay,
must have.
I
Yeah.
think I remember the Instagram list leading up to it. Unless maybe we're so connected, like I remember somehow, but I do remember an Instagram post with like this room full of people celebrating your birthday. I'm like, hell yeah, right, all right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool.
I don't
It's a good
remember
turnout.
how I shared, but exactly, like my house is full of people. There's people out on the balcony, in the kitchen. It was great. It was so good. And everybody got along so good. And after the party, everybody was like, oh, when are you gonna have people over? I want to be part of your group. And like I remember there's these girls from Russia, and they're like, you gotta meet. They knew me as Justin. You gotta meet Justin. He's so cool. And yeah, no, I am cool, but there was this elevate. I had become something more than just me in their minds because I was a people connector. I had a thing going on, and then I actually just moved away, and I moved to Colombia like a few months later, and I kind of just let it all go. And now I'm kind of honestly kind of being in loner mode again, which is kind of weird. But another thing about the party is that 2 weeks earlier when I was in San Jose, we did the private party, and Arash made a speech. You know, everybody's drinking, there's a DJ, and I guess I forget if he like got the DJ to stop or whatever, but basically there's a moment in the party where he got everybody's attention, and he made a speech. And so I did that for my birthday. I had these stairs that went upstairs. It was a loft, and so there was like stairs that kind of like, there's a few stairs in this little platform, and then the main staircase, and it was about maybe 3 feet high, and the whole it was a pretty open layout, so everybody could see me. And I got up and I made like a little speech, and I told them about kind of a little bit how I'd been like lonely in the past, and I'd be nervous about what to do with my birthday, and how it meant so much that everybody was there. And later I had the guy being like, yo, I was like tearing up a little bit when you did your speech. And another buddy was like, man, he was telling me that every day I saw him for like the next month, like, that was so amazing, that speech. So yeah, so like, I don't know how Chris knew that, but it's like that the tribal gene was activated. And it's interesting that now, like you'd mentioned with my new business, I'm calling it Tribe Builder, because that word tribe is so meaningful. And one of my favorite authors is Jack Donovan. He wrote The Way of Men, is his most famous book. All the IMC guys should read that. A lot of you guys have.
Jack Donovan,
Jack
The Way of
Donovan,
what?
The Way of Men. Super powerful.
All
It's
right.
about the masculine virtues of strength, honor, mastery, discipline. And in one of his sequels, I think it's maybe Becoming a Better Barbarian or something, the very, very beginning phrase of the book is tribalism, a catchy slogan for loyal customer. And this is after I was listening to the audiobook of this recently, and I thought, oh my God, that's so funny, because that's kind of how I'm using it. I am using it in that like cheesy corporate way, because I guess maybe I haven't even explained it to the audience yet. So my business is called Tribe Builder, and I teach marketing to coaches. I teach coaches how to build online businesses. And so I am using the word tribe in that cheesy way of like your tribe of loyal customers, but I'm using it in the authentic way too. And because tribalism is taboo, because true tribalism means that you reject outsiders. And I see that a lot in the IMC guys, like the real hardcore guys. Like if you're not IMC, then they don't fuck with you. And it's very powerful. And so the way I see the evolution of basically what I've decided to do is, so I've got 18 years of marketing experience, and I've built e-commerce businesses, and I used to be a web designer at Playboy, and I've got a lot of experience, and I've done marketing for Vince, and now I've decided I've become the character of my business, and I'm putting myself out there and basically becoming a speaker, which is the most like the best thing ever. To become a speaker is this is what Arash teaches us, right? He tells us like, go live on social media every day, develop that verbal ability. And so I'm doing that, and I'm taking all my marketing concepts and I'm teaching marketing. And partially that's because that's what I feel most comfortable teaching. That's really been my professional career, the web design, the graphic design, creating ads, doing email marketing. That's what I'm competent at, because that's what I've been doing for a living for so long. But I see the evolution of my coaching business, my speaking. I'd love to get into other areas too. And I like that word, the name Tribe Builder, because it is that cheesy corporate jargon for loyal paying customer, but it's also build, like I'm teaching coaches how to build a true tribe of people that really resonate with their message and their, and so I want to get more into like leadership and communication and stuff like that, as well as like esoteric stuff, hermeticism, which is my other project that's kind of on the back burner now, which is my blog. And honestly, that didn't really pop financially the way I was hoping. It's only making like $30 a month,
What was
but it's
that?
getting like, so I've got a blog called mysteriumacademy.com.
Oh, I remember seeing you working on that at the Starbucks in San Jose. You actually
Oh,
asked me if I'd be interested in it, and I'm like, yeah, but something about me and just sitting down behind a computer. Now, if I could like get really focused and disciplined and like knock out a couple hours of work just in a day, I'm
yeah,
good. But I can only last a couple hours. But what was
yeah.
this blogging you were doing?
So I followed a course that teaches people how to create a blog that generates like good income. And it's been disappointing for me because I followed their course to the best of my abilities. And they told me that if you follow their system, you can expect to get about 500 page views per month per article. And you can expect to make about $30 per 1,000 page views. So in other words, if you have 100 articles and they're each getting about 500 page views a month, that's about 50,000 page views a month. And if you're getting about $30 per 1,000 page views, you can expect about $1,500 of revenue. And it's truly passive income because it's through affiliate marketing, it's through having ads on your website. I worked my fucking ass off on that blog for 2.5 years. I wrote 100 articles. It's a lot of fucking work. I learned a lot. That was a great thing because I was writing about Greek mythology, ancient Egypt, Atlantis, the occult. I learned a lot. It was super cool. But so I've got 106 articles. I'm only getting 8,000 page views a month, and it's only making $20 fucking a month. So I don't know. Maybe it just needs more time, but I don't know. Maybe it was my niche is off or whatever. But it's still part of my thing I'm creating. I love that stuff. And Arash is like, he's really tapped into that stuff too. Like you hear one thing that when I was really researching like the hermetic sciences and stuff, like I was hearing that coming through in his teaching. Like he'll be talking about meeting girls at a strip club, but he's also teaching oh God, what were the seven principles of this, the seven hermetic principles.
I'm gonna have to go back to my notes. It's so much and it's so overwhelming. And one thing about that is like a lot of it can be overwhelming and so far beyond your comprehension. But the way that he teaches it, like the way that you feel, that's one
Yeah,
thing I learned. Like just like, oh, the magic trick, what's the magic trick? Secret word I could say to make someone like me. And come to
yeah,
find out, it's not what you say, it's
yeah,
how you say it and how you're feeling, and they feel what you
100%,
feel. And not
100%.
everyone's gonna like it, and your light shining is gonna piss off some darkness in people. So
Yeah,
just cut it
yeah,
off and then connect with people
yeah,
who enjoy the light.
yeah,
So that you've been busting your butt writing years for the blog, do what you're supposed to do, and it wasn't working. But
yeah,
now you're doing something else that helps people, and
yeah.
you like that more.
I'm loving it because
Good, good.
it's I've become a public speaker, and so part of the journey of that is through my Mysterium Academy website. I was looking at different ways I can monetize it because I am still getting like 8,000 visits a month, which in terms of ad revenue, it's not really making revenue. But if I was thinking maybe I can monetize that audience in another way, maybe I could have like a members area with video content. And I reached out to I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Michael Tazarian. He's like kind of a legend in the kind of the hidden history world. He talks about Atlantis and
How do you spell the last name?
Tsarian. He's one of my favorite people out there for learning about stuff like that. He's done all these really incredible video presentations. They used to be all available on YouTube, not anymore. And I reached out to the Michael Tazarian website saying, hey, can I buy those classic video presentations and put them for sale on my Mysterium Academy website? And then they get back to me and they say, hi, I'm sure you can understand we don't want those available anywhere but our website, but would you like to be on the podcast? Little do I know, I'm actually speaking with Michael Tazarian, and like he's one of the probably like the second person in the world I'd want to speak to about these topics. The first would be Drunvalo Melchizedek. You're into Drunvalo, I think, right? Do you know Drunvalo Melchizedek?
No, I don't even know who these guys are. I'm taking notes and I'm
Oh,
looking because this is like something
okay.
I'm getting interested in. So
Because you're into the power of
you're
life, right?
following you're following this guy, you really look up to him, and now you're
Yeah.
like on his podcast speaking with him.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit.
And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was blown away. It was the second podcast I'd ever been on in my whole life. The first being with Yogi Chris. And so I do the show, I watch the replay. I
Is this
wasn't really,
recorded? Like, can we find this?
well, the thing is it's available only, and you have to be a subscribed
Get me a
member
member.
to
Okay.
access the
Well,
podcast.
we'll share the link or whatever after
Yeah,
this, but sorry, go on.
yeah, because that was really, really meaningful for me. My first appearance, and I rewatched the the replay, and I wasn't happy with my delivery, and I was like, man, I gotta stop smoking weed. And I'd been wanting to go smoking weed for fucking 15 years, but that was like a big wake up call, seeing myself. And that's one of the things I love about doing the speaking, creating the videos, is getting feedback, like watching myself and finding that balance of loving who I am and at the same time wanting to grow and change and evolve. Because there's certain little mannerisms, little movements I do that I don't like, little tonalities in my voice that I don't really like. But at the same time, it's like about accepting and loving myself for the beautiful
Dude,
being I am. But
one thing I think you can agree on, and this goes for all the viewers and listeners, and the other 300 that AZD wants to speak part of IMC Nation. Um, you're not gonna like how you look and sound at first, but once you learn how to love yourself, which is crucial, then you're gonna look forward to it. And you'll look at back videos. Like I got videos of myself 10 years ago when I first started. So much pain, so hard. And now I'm getting better and stuff, but it's like it's not as painful as it was before. So
yeah,
I'm sure you
yeah,
can
no,
relate.
totally. And also, I so I don't pause as much anymore, and I speak faster than I used to. And I remember being out the other night socially and being very cognizant of, am I like dragging out what I'm saying, man? Because whatever you're seeing on video, and if you're like, oh, I don't like what I'm seeing, well, that's what the fucking world is seeing. Maybe you're a little more relaxed when you're on video and it's a little bit better, but if you can't do a video because you don't like what you see, well, that's what the world is seeing. And so if women are not responding to you the way you want, and people are not opening up to you socially, well, and then you see a video of yourself, you don't like what you see, well, that's what the world's seeing. And so as I'm practicing speaking every single day now on video, and I'm going out socializing, and the majority of my socializing is in Spanish, and my Spanish is very, very weak, so that makes it more challenging. But I was cognizant of the fact that, like, if I'm having a conversation out socially and I'm really like pausing, well, that's taxing on them, and they're not going to enjoy that interaction with me so much. Whereas if I'm super warmed up and I'm speaking quickly and it's compelling, well, I'm just a more charismatic person, and people are going to respond to me more. So there's that super great benefit. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say about it. I don't know. I don't know.
That's fine. It's just that right there. I used to get so upset if I would just lose my train of thought. And then it's like, oh, I effed up again, and oh, we're doing this live, and okay,
Yeah.
pause for editing.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, AZD, Captain Chris, they do it all the time. And it's just
Totally.
it feels so good to know, like, even the best speakers who've been doing it for years, even decades. Oh, what was I talking about? But you got so much going on. It doesn't matter. That was a great example, actually, right there.
Yeah, when I said totally, I actually misunderstood you for a second. Yeah, they do have that moment where they reset. I just thought you meant they speak all the time, and I've gotten a new appreciation for Yogi Chris since I've started speaking, because that guy is prolific. He's been doing the YouTube, he's
Oh,
been
so much.
podcasts, he's been like just a lot of speaking. It's like,
And the way he breaks down things and describes things, it's like you're there. Like when I first started apprenticing, I'm considered a staff member now, but I was kind of on the fence, like deciding if I wanted to stay in IMC, because it was like one thing with me is I would go into self sabotage or self destruct, or I'd run or hide, like, oh, this is too good for me, so I gotta f it up. But one of the deciding factors was during Yogi Chris's Enlightened Masculinity, and he was describing like my elbow, like left elbow or something, and he was like, I can make you like feel your left elbow or something, and then it started tingling. I was like, holy shit. I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could do that. It's like if you could do this to me, it's like I wonder if I could like do something as effective, because people, they learn about this stuff and they take advantage of others. But it's like, what if I could do this for like the greater mankind and make someone feel better about themselves or overcome something that happened to them,
yeah, yeah,
or like you helping someone with their business, you're gonna people are gonna hit a wall and want to quit, and you're gonna be like, hey, you know what? I've been there. This is what you can do. There's this thing
yeah,
called the AZD process, that's
yeah.
helped me get through a lot of it. It's not easy at first, but I tell you what, I was able to quit pharmaceuticals. I was on antidepressant for depression and Adderall for focus. And
Mm,
it took me a couple of years leading up to that,
mhm.
but the first program I actually invested money in was Monks with Attitude. I don't know if you
Okay,
remember that or if you were around, but it was a 4 video
oh,
series.
okay,
It was this was a few years ago. Um, that was one of the deciding factors.
okay,
But
yeah,
we're actually past time, and
okay.
we can keep going if you want, because class isn't for another hour yet. We got some of the leaders that are going to be speaking at 9 our time, 7 p.m. Pacific, all these time zones.
Okay.
So, Apollo, Everett, Dale, where do you see yourself? Like you're saying in IMC Nation, right? You're going to be one of the 300, one of the speakers. Or
Uh-huh.
how is your business going to help others like who want to start their business, or don't even like me, don't even know where to
Yeah.
start?
So with this, I'm doing it to serve, like I don't even think about it as selling. I think about it as serving. And I know with every fiber of my being that the knowledge that I have, and it's not my knowledge, it's things that I've learned. Like people need this knowledge, like especially there's what I love about the IMC tribe is that most of the guys are creating a lot of content and expressing ideas and stuff. And it's a lot of it's really interesting stuff, but there's really like the marketing aspect of it, like they're just winging it, they're freestyling it, and that can work. Like that's kind of what Arash does, although he's been doing it for so long, he's refined his process and his business model. It works because he's so incredible. And for the rest of us, we have good ideas to share, but if you have like, if you're doing the whole internet marketing thing properly to an extent, because there's levels, right? Like there's the true masters, like the Brendan Burchards, the Russell Brunsons. These guys are absolute masters of internet marketing. But like, if like I could see the guys who have all these interesting ideas, like about spirituality and stuff, implementing some of the core concepts of like, because it's not a mystery like what the guys that are making millions of dollars a year are doing. It's knowing, like it's available knowledge how it's being done on the internet. And that this is what I do. Like I'm an internet marketer. I've sold millions of dollars of stuff on the internet, not
Wow.
necessarily for myself, but during the pandemic, I sold like what, $4 million worth of medical masks and
So
sanitization.
you, it sounds like you have this machine that's already built that someone can invest in and let it run for them
Yeah,
to
so
get
it's a
viewers
system.
or people who don't know what they don't know and see this thing that they need that they can use to help them get
Yeah,
past. Because I've stopped so many times, like just out of frustration, trying to help my friends launch their business, helping out and so much enough, and then we getting mad at each other and yelling at each other. And if we just had this one tool, like this one machine, it sounds like you have it.
exactly.
I'm
So
interested in learning
what I've
more.
created, and I'm continuing to refine it. I've got version 1 of my course, and I'm going to keep making it better, better, and better. And I'm going to raise the price of it to $997 later once I feel like it's there. And it's a blend of like marketing concepts and strategies plus hands-on nuts and bolts, like step-by-step guides on how to set things up. It's like everything together. So because there's concepts about like um picking your niche, creating your character, sharing your backstory, sharing your struggles, and really connecting with your audience. And then there's the actual like step-by-step guide for how to set up your custom email, how to build your website. And with these systems, like all the technological stuff, it's not that complicated, but there's so many options out there. WordPress, Shopify, Kajabi, ClickFunnels, Lead Pages, Wix, Square, like who,
Heard about
Google
almost all of
Facebook
those.
what's that?
So sorry to cut you off. So is there like a website or something that I can put in the description where people can reach
Yeah,
you, or
yeah.
is it through the website or is it like a social media or
Try
Telegram?
build, try
What's the best
builder
way?
dot I try builder.io. And if we're gonna
All right,
be posting a link, like if we're just verbally saying it, I'd say try
I'm gonna
builder.io. They'll go to the landing page or the homepage, I mean.
try builder dot.
But if you're gonna post a link that people click on, I'd send them to my landing page for my free presentation every Thursday night. I'm gonna put it in the chat, okay? Try builder
Yep, and
dot
I'm gonna
I
put that in the description on our YouTube here when we're done,
beautiful
so people can.
webinar.
I'm definitely interested.
And that's a
This is
that's
oh
a
hell
landing
yeah!
page to my,
Are you going live again next week?
yes, I am, yeah.
All
And
right.
you know what I'm doing? It's the same presentation every single week. So you've already seen it.
Wow.
So, but I'm thinking I'm going to do some other free trainings, like maybe once a month, where I'm going to teach other stuff. Like I was thinking about doing a whole class about all the stuff I've learned about Instagram. I haven't even really started implementing my Instagram strategy yet. Like you're just starting to see kind of the early stages of it. So it might seem like, my Instagram account is pretty small. I don't like, maybe I'm not an expert, maybe I'm not, but I'm about to really unleash my
Just getting
full
started.
strategy. And so the funny thing with what I'm doing is it's like the more success I have, the more proof it is that what I'm offering works. Like my buddy he's been helping me film stuff, he's a philosopher. Like I don't like, I've heard him on call calls, and like I have to like put on music. Like it gives me a headache hearing him talk about philosophy. Like it's seriously like so weird. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. But he says that it's meta what I'm doing, because my system that I'm teaching is the exact same system that I'm using. So the more success I have, the more proof it is that my system works, and the more I'm going to refine exactly what that system is. Like I'm changing stuff around. Like I'm introducing a new part of the program in the very beginning, where I'm going to get my students to start doing a YouTube video every single day with no intention of trying to get attention or build an audience or engagement. It's just about the practice of the speaking, because through experience, I'm learning how important that is. along with the marketing concepts, like you need to develop the speaking ability through practice. And then another thing I'm getting people to do, and I haven't recorded this yet, but I'm putting this at the very beginning of my course, is I'm getting my students to start recording an ad every single day, like a Facebook, Instagram ad every single day, so that when the time comes for them to start running ads, which is maybe a couple months into the process, by that point, they'll have so much practice creating ads, and they'll have like, maybe 60 ads that they've already done, they can pick the best ones. And then when it comes time to invest money in ads, they're already going to be like super practiced and experienced. So I'm kind
Oh
of
my God.
finding things as
Don't give any
a
more, any way more secrets. That's
that,
exactly, that's like one of the least things that I want to do. But now I'm seeing my IMC Nation brothers doing it, especially the top leaders. Just taking a cold shower, like working out, sharing how important it is to be. And then you'll have those haters like, oh, why do you do that? Why do you put it out there? I'm like, why aren't you doing this? Like, you need this. How do I
yeah,
know? Because I used to be that. So I don't
yeah.
want to give away any other. I want people
Thanks.
to attend your
Yes.
webinar. Was it next Thursday?
Next Thursday at I guess it's 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because it's at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I think that makes it at
7 Eastern.
four.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 o'clock every Thursday.
Yeah.
And I I my idea was to not be one of those annoying webinars that like doesn't actually provide any real information. It's just about trying to get people to buy something, because there's a lot of webinars out there. And yes, I do pitch my course at the end, but I try to include some really good ideas that people can use for like building their online business. So I think I did. I think I achieved that with the three
Yeah.
systems.
Was that the first webinar you've ever given?
Yes, technically the second I
That
did it.
was
Yeah,
really good.
thank you very much. I did it
And
to
you're taking me down
nobody.
memory lane a few years ago because I attended so many, and
Yeah,
this it gets salesy, pitchy. It's like I
yeah.
mean maybe because I feel connected with you, but you sharing like real life stories, like the struggles you went through, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy worked with Playboy. Like every time I get to know him, he gets more and more interesting. It's like I want to learn with this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, I get that from AZD, the character development. And also I'm studying Jenna Kuchner. She's kind of the world's leading expert on Instagram. And this is another secret. This is the last secret I'm going to give away, but she talks about having 5 flavors of content on your Instagram profile. And so that's something
All
I'm in
right,
the process of developing. And so I'm becoming
Jenna
this
Kuchner.
Jenna Kuchner. I think that's her name. I bought her course. And
Sorry, go on.
so she talks about having 5 flavors of content, and that's what I'm currently implementing. I've already created a bunch of content. I haven't published it yet, but like sometimes you see that guy in every single post he's in the gym, or that other guy every single post he's playing his guitar, and maybe you're into that, but maybe you're not. And what I'm going for is having 5 different flavors and becoming, so people are like, whoa, who is this guy? So because I'm DJing, I haven't really done much DJing content yet, but that's coming soon. I'm doing my dance stuff. I don't know if, have you seen my dance videos? Have you seen that shit?
No, not yet. I'll be taking
Yeah,
notes though.
yeah,
That's
because
one thing that I wish I never gave. I used to dance like an idiot in my 20s. Alcohol mainly helps, but sometimes I get compliments. But I always wanted
yeah,
to learn how to like b-boy and pop like
cool.
robot, like what Zay does.
Yeah,
You did salsa though, right? I did take a salsa class for a little bit, but I
a
quit
little bit,
just like
a
everything
little bit
else.
of salsa, but I got to mention, I do private classes 3 times a week with this incredible dancer. He's 21. He's been dancing since he was 6. He's in university on a dance scholarship. And we have a little bit of conflict because I'm telling him, dude, it's too fast. It's too fast. We got this, no despacio, no despacio. That's like,
Oh
despacio
man.
is slow. And I was thinking like,
I'm
because
old
I
enough to be your
feel
father. Don't tell me what to do. No, sorry. I can just
like,
imagine.
I've taken care of my health, and I'm just as strong as I was when I was younger, if not stronger. And I can move really good and stuff, but I thought maybe I've lost the speed a little. Yeah, of course, 41 years old. Of course, I saw this video on Instagram like a couple days ago, this fucking 56-year-old guy breakdancing. Amazing. Like full on B-boy, and he's 56 years old. He's been doing
I
it.
think
So
was it Brian Ross or
I don't know.
Brian Rose? He has a podcast. He looks like he's in his 50s. I'll send it to you
Not
after
him.
this, but
Not him. That
he's
I know
doing the
that
B
guy.
boy.
I know that
But
guy.
seeing this older guy dancing
That
that fast, you're
I was
like,
like,
I
okay, I
can do
can
that.
develop the speed. So I've been doing it for like 2 months now. And so a little bit of salsa, but more Afro dance, mostly Afro dance, and then a little bit of reggaeton, as well as a little bit of champeta, which is a style of dance that they have here on the coast of Colombia. And so like maybe about once a week, I'll post a story of sometimes just me, but usually me and him doing like a little choreography that he's taught me. And I feel like it, because the types of girls that I love the most are dancers. That's that's my favorite. And so I just feel like I'm on the right path. We'll see what happens. And so I've got the DJ stuff, I've got the dance stuff, I've got some health and wellness related videos that I'm going to be publishing. Travel, and that was kind of what I was already kind of strong in on my Instagram profile in the past, because I've been fortunate. I've been able to be traveling to nice places, and then marketing as well. And so like I'm going to be teaching some marketing stuff on Instagram. So those are my 5 flavors, and it's this hopefully super compelling character, and people are like, wow, this guy's really interesting, right? That character development, like Arash always teaches us. And so maybe you don't need 5, but being multidimensional, that's a concept I learned from Vince Calvin, actually. The multidimensional man model or something. He taught me about that, like where, let's say you're a professional athlete, of course that's very attractive, right? But maybe you're kind of that jock guy, women are going to like you because you're big and strong and rich and famous. But if you're that, let's say, you're NFL wide receiver, but then you're also like, you write poetry for a hobby, then you're like, wow, like, holy, this guy's multidimensional. He's so
Yeah, put
fascinating.
it out there. But when
Yeah.
I
So
first got into entrepreneurship, like several years ago, I made the mistake where I would just post all this motivational stuff, or some of
yeah.
my relatives and friends were making fun of me. So I stopped, and then some of behind the scenes were watching, were like, "Hey, what happened to this?" But I found out that I was just one dimensional. It was just all this. Now, when I
Mm-hmm.
see someone who I'm learning from, like let's say how to run my business, DJing and salsa dancing with some sexy senoritas, I'm like, this guy's like someone I want to hang out with and learn
Mm-hmm.
from. So yeah, put
Mm-hmm.
that stuff out there.
Hell
And
yeah.
health is crucial.
Hell yeah.
Real quick, the reason why I call this beyond your brand is
Yeah.
because after meeting you and attending your live webinar that had so much useful information in it last night, I learned like you are the brand, and AZD says you are your first customer in the morning.
Yeah.
So when I see people like I've worked with some good leaders that were good at their job, but they didn't look healthy, or they look stressed, or they weren't living the type of lifestyle that I wanted to live. And here I see AZD with several beautiful women being healthy, working out, doing yoga, showing himself like eating healthy, reading Stoicism. Captain
Mm-hmm.
Chris and our fellow IMC Nation brothers doing the same. It's
Yeah.
like I want to work with these guys. And just like
Yeah.
you said before, like some of the guys that it's like, if you don't F with IMC, I don't want to work with you. Like
Yeah.
we are under the IMC Nation contract where we know that we can trust each other. Where if we're like loaning each other money or whatever, we respectfully hold each other accountable to
Yeah.
their word. And
Yeah.
now it's like we have everything that we need within IMC Nation now, where we can just grow and expand,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a beautiful thing. It just keeps getting better.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Amen. Amen. That's a great note to
Amen
leave
to
with.
that.
Yeah.
So any last words you'd like to close with?
I mean, last thing obviously is come out to my free presentation Thursday night. It's the 3 systems you need to build a thriving online coaching business in 90 days. And it's about an hour long, and it's got Q&A at the end. And yeah, that's it. And it's been
All
awesome
right, and
talking.
what's that?
It's been awesome talking with you.
Yeah, likewise. We can do this again if you want.
Hell yeah, I'd
If
love to.
not, pretty soon you'll be starting your own show. So
We'll see.
just
We'll
throw that
see.
out there. You already have one actually. So they can sign up at tribebuilder.io/webinar landing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'll put that in the YouTube description as well.
Beautiful. Appreciate that a lot.
All right.
Yeah, man.
You're welcome. All
Okay,
right.
well, I want to talk to you a little
And
bit
catch
after.
after.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Before I hit the stop button, catch me once again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time for 4 Pills of Power, transmuting negative into positive. All right, TK, Apollo out here. Keep showing up. Os. All right, I'm gonna
Oh,
hit stop on YouTube, and then I'm gonna hit the record. Whoops. Okay, now it's all right. So I won't make the same mistake again. I'm just gonna quit Zoom altogether. So I think it's still live streaming on
oh,
YouTube,
okay.
and I'll call
Yeah,
you
right.
on Instagram. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, man. Talk
All right.
soon.
Talk to you soon, brother. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.